Hello everyone and welcome to English Today Journey. I am very happy that you are here with me today. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe so you can receive daily English tips and simple ideas of stimulation and to react automatically rather than reflect deeply. Even when you are offline, you may notice your mind jumping from one thought to another, restless and distracted. Social media can keep you engaged, connected, and informed, but it can also drain your energy, shorten your attention span, and make it harder to connect with yourself and others in meaningful ways. Understanding these patterns is the first step to reclaiming your attention, your focus, and your mental well-being. By noticing how these small online interactions affect you, you can start making conscious choices about when and how to engage, and when to step back, rest, and reconnect with your inner life. You live in a world that never stops. Every day, you consume more information, more images, more updates, but strangely, you often feel less. You respond more quickly, comment, like, share, and scroll endlessly, but when it comes to thinking deeply, reflecting on your life, or simply feeling content, it seems harder than ever. Beneath all this constant activity, there's a subtle, quiet force at work, something psychologists call limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are like tiny seeds planted in your mind over time. They are ideas you start to accept as true about yourself, often without realizing it. These beliefs are usually shaped by endless comparisons with others and constant exposure to what seems like perfect lives on social media. You might start thinking, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm not interesting enough. And here's the thing. These thoughts aren't necessarily true. They come from looking at people who only show the highlights of their lives, not the struggles behind the scenes. Slowly, these whispers of doubt become part of your inner voice. And if you listen long enough, you start believing them as truth. So, let me ask you a question. Take a moment, pause, and think honestly, even if it's only in your mind. When was the last time you did something just for yourself, purely offline? Not for likes, not to post or share, not to impress anyone, but simply for the joy of it. Maybe it was a walk where you didn't take a single photo. Maybe it was a meal you enjoyed without posting it. Maybe it was a creative moment, drawing, writing, playing music, or just creating something without an audience. If it's been a long time, don't worry. You're not alone. Many of us have become so used to recording and sharing every moment that we've forgotten what it feels like to just be present, to experience life privately, without the invisible pressure of an audience. Reclaiming that kind of personal space doesn't mean rejecting technology, turning off your phone completely, or running away from your life. It doesn't require deleting every app or moving to the mountains. Instead, it's something much simpler and yet far more powerful, protecting your mental and emotional space. Your mind is under constant attack from notifications, alerts, headlines, messages, and updates. It never truly stops. Your nervous system, which is meant to rest and recharge, is always on edge. Peace isn't found in more stimulation. It isn't in checking the feed for the 100th time. True calm comes from moments of quiet, moments when you can turn inward, breathe deeply, and just exist without a reason. These moments may seem small, even trivial, but they are incredibly restorative. They remind you what it feels like to live life for yourself, not for anyone else. It's about slowing down, noticing your thoughts, and giving yourself permission to enjoy the world without documenting it. It's about feeling fully present in your experiences, whether it's the taste of your food, the sound of birds outside, or the rhythm of your own heartbeat. This is not a luxury, it's a necessity. By protecting your offline space, you start breaking the chains of those limiting beliefs. You remind yourself that you are enough as you are, that life can be meaningful without constant validation, and that joy doesn't always need an audience. In a world that constantly demands your attention, giving yourself permission to simply be can feel revolutionary, and it can transform the way you experience life. Peace isn't found in constant motion or endless noise. Real peace comes from depth, slowness, and stillness. It's not about making huge changes all at once. It begins with small, deliberate steps. You can start today. Take a walk without your phone. Sit quietly for 10 minutes in the morning before opening any apps. Write something by hand instead of typing it on a screen. Call a friend to talk instead of sending a quick message. These might seem small or even trivial, but they are powerful starting points. They remind your brain what it feels like to rest, to focus, and to connect deeply. They teach you that life doesn't need to be lived at full speed or under constant observation to feel meaningful. Here's an important truth. Social media isn't just a screen you scroll through. It's a space you inhabit mentally, emotionally, and socially. And like any space, it shapes you. It's crucial to ask yourself, is this a space where my well-being can breathe? If the answer is no, it may be time to create boundaries or change how you interact with it. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. The influence of social media extends far beyond personal habits. It changes how we perceive the world itself. Whether we notice it or not, these platforms have become more than tools we use. They act as lenses, filters, and mirrors. They color the way we see reality and reflect back our own beliefs and preferences. One of the most subtle but powerful ways this happens is through something called an echo chamber. An echo chamber forms when your online environment is filled mostly with content that already matches your existing opinions and beliefs. How does this happen? Through algorithms. Every like, every click, every video you pause on, every share you make, every story you watch, these are signals the platform records. Based on this data, it learns what captures your attention and gives you more of the same. At first, this feels helpful. Your feed seems personal, tailored, and convenient. It feels like the platform knows exactly what you want to see. But over time, something subtle begins to happen. Your world starts to shrink. You stop seeing different perspectives. Your feed becomes less about conversation or discovery and more about confirmation. Confirmation that the way you think, feel, or believe is the only way. You no longer encounter opposing views or ideas outside your comfort zone. The danger here isn't obvious at first. It isn't loud or dramatic. It creeps in quietly. Because when your digital world is built to confirm your beliefs, it becomes harder to think critically or see life from other points of view. Your mind starts to settle into patterns, reinforcing the same ideas over and over. This doesn't just affect your online habits. It subtly shapes your attitudes, opinions, and even the way you relate to the real world. Breaking free doesn't mean rejecting technology or leaving social media entirely. It means being aware, noticing these patterns, and taking small steps to reclaim your mental and emotional space. It means opening windows into other perspectives, consciously seeking diversity of thought, and remembering that the world is much bigger and more complex than the curated reality of your feed. Peace, understanding, and clarity come when you take a step back, breathe, and allow yourself to experience life outside the screen. Researchers call this phenomenon a filter bubble. It's a digital environment where you keep seeing the same kinds of stories, opinions, and narratives over and over again. At first, it may feel convenient. You see content that matches your interests, beliefs, and habits. But over time, it creates a subtle illusion, the feeling that everyone thinks the same way you do. Of course, this isn't true. The algorithm isn't showing you reality as it is. It's showing a curated version of reality, one that is designed to keep you engaged. This curated view may not be deliberately harmful, but its effects are serious. When your digital world is filled mostly with voices that agree with you, your thinking begins to shrink. You stop questioning ideas. You stop exploring different perspectives. Your mind becomes more comfortable with familiar opinions, and independent thought starts to fade. Slowly, you may find yourself more willing to conform to the majority view in your bubble, a phenomenon researchers call groupthink. This is when the desire to fit in or agree with others overpowers critical reasoning, making it harder to think clearly or challenge your assumptions. As these bubbles grow stronger, society itself begins to feel more divided. Different groups stop talking with each other, and instead talk against each other. The middle ground, the space for compromise, understanding, and empathy, becomes smaller. People begin seeing differences not as a natural part of life, but as threats. What started as a tool for connection quietly turns into a force for division. The most dangerous part is that this often happens without anyone noticing. Disagreement becomes normal, and over time, the way we interact online changes. It's not just that people have different opinions. On social media, disagreements can escalate quickly. Instead of seeing others as individuals with their own experiences, stories, and emotions, we start reducing them to the other side, or even an enemy. Human beings with lives, struggles, and feelings are replaced by abstract ideas we oppose. This shift has predictable consequences. Simple debates turn into arguments. Comments become sharp, sometimes cruel. Posts stop being about sharing meaningful ideas and instead become performances designed to provoke reactions from an audience. The nuance disappears. Subtlety vanishes. What remains is raw emotion, instant judgment, and a constant cycle of outrage that repeats endlessly. We see this most clearly in politics, cultural debates, and social justice issues. If you scroll through your feed during an election season, a major protest, or a global crisis, it's obvious how divided people seem. Different groups retreat into their corners, repeating the same messages to each other while ignoring or attacking those who disagree. Social media amplifies these divisions because it rewards strong reactions, not thoughtful conversation. The result is a world that feels more fragmented than ever. The space for calm reflection, for listening, and for empathy shrinks. And while technology itself isn't evil, the way it shapes our thinking, emotions, and interactions has consequences that ripple far beyond the screen. Awareness is the first step. Understanding how these filter bubbles work and how algorithms shape your reality allows you to step back, question your assumptions, and reclaim some control over how you perceive the world. It's not easy, but it's necessary if we want to live in a world where dialogue, understanding, and real connection are still possible. The division online goes far beyond simple disagreements. It isn't just that people argue about policies, opinions, or personal preferences. Increasingly, people even disagree about basic facts: what is true, what is real, and what values should matter. In the middle of this storm of disagreement, misinformation spreads like wildfire. False stories, edited photos, misleading headlines, they travel fast, often much faster than the truth. Why does this happen? Shock